Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to a not late night edition of the Missing Lynx post-game live stream podcast thing. I'm Andrew Dukowitz. The room is now adequately lit. I don't know if people understand the power of the sun in Vegas, but I have no lights on and the shutter shades on, and it still looks like there is a sun behind me. Cassidy, joining me from the Star Tribune, I have to give myself a pat on the back. This is the first time today that I spelt your name correctly without having to go letter by letter off the Star Tribune website. How are you?
Good. And that's impressive. I have friends who still have to ask sometimes how to do it. Not that you're not my friend, but friends I've known for years, you know what I mean? So considering we've only known each other for a couple Lynx seasons, that's pretty good.
Hey, I'm going to take it. I surprised myself. I was like, I got all of the E's and I's in the right position. We are ready to go. I mean, I guess we'll acknowledge the elephant in the room right off the way. Lynx win today, but Olivia Miles goes down with pretty not great looking ankle injury. When I went on Twitter and started looking for people to post clips of the super zoomed in ankle stepping on a foot, I guess what was kind of the reaction in the arena and what were your kind of thoughts when she went down?
Yeah, I mean, the angle that we sit at with the media, it was kind of the actual rolling of the ankle kind of happened behind the net, so we didn't see it. And also it was pretty, looked pretty innocuous, kind of in the way the fans sit, didn't have a ton of great view. So then she kind of stumbles over towards the baseline right there in front of the corner that me, you and Terry and that crew kind of normally sit. And so she goes down and we're all kind of whoa, what happened? And then, players start kind of coming around. But once she got up, you could kind of see her bending down and, holding on to her left ankle there. And, it was definitely you could feel the air sort of leave Target Center. And it was a pretty rowdy day, being camp day. So it's, 10,000 screaming children who sort of also seemed to kind of recognize that, this was not a great development. So once she came off, pretty quickly returned and seeing her walk off the tunnel and kind of be able to, shrug off Chuck and staff that were there, walk off without them having to kind of carry her off. That was a good sign. Then coming back, up and pretty quickly celebrating those threes from Nia and from Mac, and afterwards doing the electric slide. Of course, you got to ask post game about updates.
You and Terry with the double hitter too.
I know.
Same question twice in a row, and Cheryl was like, "No, we're not doing this."
I didn't necessarily expect Terry to follow up, but I was like, "I'll just get out of the way." But not. I don't think, making anything of hearing an update or not hearing an update, that's pretty standard of they have to come in pretty quickly afterwards and talk to media and, they'll want to know more of what that looks like. So, but yeah, I think based on just the end of the game and, it seemed appeared from our angle that, maybe gingerly kind of walking around and, they've got a couple days off, a couple days between now and Saturday's game. Also we saw with the calf strain, that, they played that, it was just a couple games. So yeah, it wasn't anything sort of, I guess there were, at first maybe it seemed like it could be worse than it was. Of course, we'll actually get, a prognosis or, an update, or maybe there's no update. She's just off the injury, not in the injury report entirely on Saturday. We'll see. But yeah, I think the way the last couple of minutes played out are coming back. I'm sure fans in the arena and on TV were happy to see.
Yeah, I mean, Ben mentions he's a season ticket holder, sits behind the Lynx bench, and that gave Liv a hug, and he's no pro lip reader, but did seem like Liv mouthed that she's fine. I mean, if it was something devastating, like a broken ankle or a severe sprain, I think Chuck would have duct taped her to the back wall of Target Center and not let her come out and jump up and down on it, because Liv is that type of player that is going to go out there and show support and jump off the bench and celebrate and all of that. So I'm not like, after I saw she came back, I wasn't particularly worried about it. Like, I guess if you want to be cynical or negative about it, you know, the Lynx also do have a 19-6 record. They could theoretically shut her down until the All-Star break and give her a long rest, tell her not to play in the All-Star game, and then suit her back up coming out of that break. And they probably wouldn't lose a ton of ground, especially given that they're playing, you know, Portland Toronto, or Portland and Seattle. Like, I might be worth just playing it careful. But I mean, another just exceptional Olivia Miles game before the
end. Great
18, 4, 5,
game in
3 steals, no turnovers, which people who listened to the last post-game live stream, that was my only gripe with Liv, and she goes none tonight, which I guess I haven't talked to you in a little over a week. Like, Olivia Miles really good at basketball still, it turns out, right?
Yeah, that hasn't changed since we talked since the last time. No, my opinion on that, has not changed. Oh my gosh, wait. I did find, speaking of, this made me laugh. I found this, I posted it online. I was going back and like, I sit here sometimes if I have to film like videos or whatever for work. And I was going back and looking at like a lighting and framing thing that I had in my like intro video when I first started this role. And that was during March Madness. And so I just kind of had basketball like on in the background most of the time or whatever. But then like I was like, I'll just leave it on when I'm filming as sort of this, like I'm talking about covering women's sports, like it's whatever March Madness. And I was laughing because the game I had on
of course it was.
I was like, oh my gosh, like what did I know? This is like March 28th, but it was the UVA TCU game, and
yeah, we should have just taken that as a sign and been like, yeah, Liv's getting drafted here. Could have made a lot of money on Kelsey.
Yeah, I could tell the future. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that made me laugh. But yeah, no, still good at basketball. For sure.
I mean, what's been kind of fun for me is I've been doing just deep dives on random players that people suggest, and had Britt Robson on the pod yesterday, and he threw out, like, reminds me of Ricky Rubio with the Vision, threw out some other names of just like NBA kind of like comps of players that came into good teams and were successful, Tony Parker, names like that. And he threw out a name, Pete Maravich, as like his, if you want to go way back, Pete Maravich. And like
Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. First off, I know you're from Atlanta, so don't take offense to this, but wow, the blatant racism in 1970 Atlanta Hawk newspapers is insane. If anyone wants to, I guess, gain hope in humanity of how far we've come, at least they're not publishing that stuff anymore. But the other side of it was just like digging into like Maravich's stats. It's like Liv is just, it's not even close. Like digging into Tony Parker, it's not even close. Like Matthew Collar, shout out Sloan Martin's husband who does Purple Insider, he threw out like Chelsea Gray 2017, and that might be the closest like comp. And that was Gray's 4th season in the league, and she made it to the finals with the Sparks that year. Like it's honestly, it's so hard to put words to it because we've never seen a player like Olivia Miles, like in the sport of basketball, let alone the WNBA. I guess just how has it been for you, like first year officially on the beat with the Star Tribune, trying to like paint the story of her rookie year when there's no comparison? Like she just broke all of Caitlin Clark's records.
Yeah. Can I get into a little like you know, what's the word? Like inside baseball of like beat.
Of course, that's what this entire live stream podcast thing is about, like writers talking to fans about the weirdness of what we do.
Yeah, and I think it's like an interesting topic of discussion because like it's so everywhere that you're writing for, and like different audiences and different outlets are so different, and like what they want to offer and fans and sports and stuff. And I think it's interesting because a lot of, you know, WNBA and sports and women's sports content I consume is like at the national level, and they're writing for different audiences when like we're here and we're writing, for like people who follow the Lynx pretty closely and watch all the games, and then hopefully as well, like maybe more casual fans who tune in occasionally, or, people who want to know more, maybe from other places and kind of come to read our stuff. And so, that's something that we talk about of like, how do you kind of break down like the chapters of a rookie season like this? And, as people who are here locally, whereas a national writer might come in and have a few days, to cover the Lynx and talk with people and kind of be like, okay, like we're going to write an Olivia Miles story. Let's like pack everything into it that's kind of capturing the year. It's like we can revisit different aspects of her game. And this goes as well for like other players, as similarly, whether it's for the Lynx or Wolves or Twins or whatever, and like, break it down in different game stories and different things. And, different like on court partnerships and pairings and stuff like that. And so, it's definitely been unique. And, I was talking with, I feel lucky to have other reporters who I can like pick their brains on. And, I even went back and was reading like former Lynx reporter Kent Youngblood's coverage of Fee's rookie season and like what that looked like. And, when certain things were published. And, obviously that was several years ago, and the media industry has like changed since then. So, it changes month to month, let alone, in 7 years. But like I was talking to Chris Hine about like how he covered Ant's rookie season. And I was like, well, like what did that kind of look like for you? And then he was like, well, it was the bubble. I was like, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're right. And that's a little different in terms of access and, what that might look like. But, so it is something that I marvel at, that like, and feel is like it's something I'm thinking about a lot and we're thinking about a lot. And I don't, is like an evolving thing, but yeah, it's pretty wild.
It is. And this is with me saying like, I haven't even done a live piece yet. I've been taking a lot of like the deep dives into like more obscure things. And then also we talk about her a ton on this live stream. So it's like, do I want to talk about her for an hour 3 times a week and then write a piece on it? Like, I'd rather talk about her for an hour 3 times a week and then write a really in-depth piece on like Tony. But it is something that's just, covering Ant with the Wolves. There's people you can go back to and you can be like Dwayne Wade, Kobe, like players that have hit the ground running and had like the same or similar amounts of success as he has, and have found like kind of gone their own way in developing their game, but like they have the same like personality traits and like strings that you can tie to Ant. With Liv, it's just, I mean, there is no records. Like she's going to have all of the rookie records by the end of the season. I mean, she just broke the fastest to 400, 100, 100 record. And that's like mind blowing that it's Liv that did that. And she's missed 2 games and she's, playing 34 minutes a game and not 40 minutes a game. I just consistently find myself just sitting there like we're watching something that is never, like, this is the moon landing for sports.
Yeah, it is one of those things that like you'll probably look back on and be like, wow, yeah, like that was it's one of those things that, I mean, you made the point of sort of like comparing stats to, 4th year Chelsea Gray or whomever, and kind of, you think to the point of like, theoretically, Liv could average the same stats for 10, 13, whatever seasons. And like, that would be like a really impressive, career. And the fact that she's doing it as a rookie, like, is quite impressive. I'm not saying that's like always how life goes, right? There's ups and downs and you're on different teams and different things and different roles, but like just kind of thinking about that as like a theoretical.
I mean, that's the if you're like the rest of the league, I think other than the Aces, because they just have Asia Wilson, and as long as she's going to play basketball, they probably have a chance. Like, this is the worst Liv's going to look. And barring injury, like, it kind of seems like she's going to be here for a while. I know it's hard to just assume that when somebody's in a rookie contract, but it's like Liv seems like a really brilliant like person in addition to basketball player. And I think when you're looking at like, okay, this is one of the best fan bases, one of the best cities to play in. Minnesota in the summer is pretty dope. And you have Cheryl Reeve. Like, it feels like there's just a different ceiling with her than some of these other kind of players that have come by and kind of flashed in their rookie season and then fallen off.
I think you could, like, it's just a fun time to think about like the W and like that period of, I mean, you look at, I think there's like several teams where they're set up where, like, you know, when you look at Seattle and like what they have going, like that's a whole different challenge. And like, you know, whatever teams that, you know, Olivia Miles and the Lynx are going to roll out, like they're going to need something to counter that, you know, theoretically. I'm thinking like years, you know, down the, like not years, but like not like this year, next season.
It might be like 2 years from now. They have two like 6'9" all-stars.
Yeah. And like, it seems like whoever, you know, like people are going to want to play with Paige Beckers, and that's going to be, you know, a team that's going to be competitive. So yeah, it's a fun time to think about, and like to kind of, you know, be able to look at a team, you know, to think about, to see what Olivia Miles is doing and kind of think about like where her place and her team's places will be like in that environment is quite fun to think about.
Muhammad brings it up. Honestly, people are downplaying Liv's incredible rookie season, especially in the national media. I think some of it is because national media, like covering the Wolves and the Lynx, like they don't watch every game. Like they maybe will watch highlights or like a film package leading up to a game that they're going to cover. Or like if you're on Sports Center, you're kind of a producer is telling you, hey, this is what we're talking about. Like if you want to brush up on it, but like they're not locked into the point. So like, I think a lot of national people, unless they've just been following the Lynx out of like love of the game, they're probably not seeing all of this stuff with Liv, where it's like, you know, the beat reporters like you, me, Terry, Britt now on the scene, Borzy, like we're watching every game. We're seeing these like stupid good things she does with her eyes, where it's just like, yeah, that's not going to go away. That's not like she had a 3-point variance game. Like I think the national media is going to catch up maybe around like playoffs, maybe is when they start to really hone in of, oh crap, like this is different. Jude also brings up a good point of just like media's kind of already decided Liv's rookie of the year. So it's not as pertinent or fun to cover when you're like, yep, that's the person winning the award. There's no race, there's no drama. And that's with AZ having a pretty good season. Cassidy, I wanted to ask you about like the video stuff that you've been doing, because one, big fan, like as somebody that puts out a lot of video content, I think that works a lot better. Yeah, are we going to start seeing like Chip Scoggins video content from Vikings training camp and Chris Hine sneaking off to the side to do vlogs during games?
I mean, you know, I don't want to speak on behalf of the whole sports department or anything. You know, I know that in this age of like media, like we want to meet people like where they are. And I came in like wanting to do some of that stuff. Like that was something that, you know, my professors in school were like, you need to be able to do this. And I was like, okay, you know, that's not necessarily like what I got into sports media for. But so I think it'll, you know, depend on sort of what they view as different people's like strengths. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But no, I'm not gonna, I don't know the whole plans yet. So I'll let that be my answer. Mm-hmm.
MPD says, where was Peely? I didn't see her. Was she on the bench? Did you notice?
Yeah, she was
Okay.
there. They did they showed a few clips and welcomed her back and put her up on the
That's nice.
Jumbotron, and she, did some hearts and some like air blow kisses and stuff. But yeah, so she was there.
I know she's on one of their developmental contracts, so I didn't expect her to play. I just never noticed. They never cut to her on TV, or or when they did, I wasn't paying attention evidently. But I'm glad they gave her a video package. Like they don't have to do that for someone that played a year and a half for the team. Like good Lynx PR move, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, you see the kind of the length that people are there of like, BC's is quite extensive, but she's there for many seasons. And but yeah, no, it's nice that recognize a player coming around. I mean, even one like we talked about, like Carly Samuelson, they recognized her, and that was in that same game as BC. So there's a juxtaposition, but like I think that's the way things go.
Nate Pence is dropping a comment, so we should probably go to an ad read. I agree. Nice to see the defense playing good. That was another thing that last post-game live stream I talked about, and then they just go out and shut the Sparks down. So I guess, maybe there's nothing to worry about. We'll go to an ad read here quick, though. When we come back, I do want to talk Olakosu, and then quite a few people have brought up Kayla McBride, so we should probably talk about Max Heater that she's on, but ads first. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Lynx podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard, and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. Jude brings up the repeated denial of Brink by Ola was awesome. Let's just brainstorm on Ola for a second here, because she's just like, she might be better than Brink. And she's 22, 21. Like, she's been such a pleasant surprise this year.
Yeah, definitely. Here before so there's a comment, and the defense is only good in a few stretches. I think I will say, like, that was it. Before we get into the Ola thing, I'll bring this up, but like, that still feels like looking back at that stretch of 11 straight games they won. I think only 2 teams scored more than 80 points, and I think of their last 6 games now, like everyone has that they played against. And there was an interesting comment that Cheryl made post game of that they feel sort of like this is just a tough stretch, like in the league, where they sort of hit where, and I think you see it, and like the Lynx still have been able to pull out several like wins or in most of these games, but that like they kind of were a runner that got out of the gate really fast. This is the comparison that Cheryl used, and they're just trying to get to the finish line. For them right now, the finish line is All-Star break. Mm-hmm. And I think that maybe like that defensively, it feels like is where that, has been. And so I think it's not, it doesn't seem like anything to like panic about necessarily, like in flashes that they've shown. It can still kind of be up to their standard, but even afterwards in post game, Courtney was saying like consistency is the biggest thing, because we did see there was a stretch there in the end of the third where they pulled ahead, where they had 4 steals in 2 minutes, starting with that steal and score layup from Olivia Miles that put them ahead, I think 57-56. And so, they've been able to sort of get turnovers when needed. The like opponent shooting percentage has been like much higher than it was to start this year.
Yeah.
The year they haven't hit that 40% mark that they love.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We haven't heard that one in post game of the.
I think
Lynx
it's been since June at least since they've hit that.
And last game, Cheryl was saying like they just need to do more dictating and like be hard to play against. And so I think that'll be interesting. It's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, that was sorry. Anyway, circling back to that point before I moved on and talked about Ola, who last game.
Real quick, I just want to add like a couple of people in the live stream after that Mercury game, and I kind of agreed with them of just that this team looks tired. Like they just look like they need a week off. I mean, Nia's been playing a ton of minutes. Tasha's been playing a ton of minutes. K-Mac, I mean, I am worried for her safety and health at sometimes when she's playing 37, 38 minutes. Like it just kind of feels like they need a break. And Cheryl saying that like the All-Star break is the final home stretch for them kind of makes sense because it just does feel like some of these players just need time off, which unfortunately 4 to 5 of them might be going to the All-Star break. So I don't know, how much time off they're going to get, but it does feel like they're just a little gassed, right?
Yeah. Congrats. You get to play more basketball. No, this made me laugh today. I was looking, so we get, a little another behind the scenes thing, like Lynx PR will give us this packet of, that they update before each game that has like stats and players' averages and stuff. And so there's this is like top individual performances for the Lynx. So this is, you look at points, there's like, McBride's 37, whatever. So this is minutes played. Wait. They're all
like they're gonna kill her.
They're all so it's like
she's gonna collapse on the court one of these days. Like
yeah, I mean, if she's playing herself into the they're on the packets are available. This is not like hidden secret.
Yeah, it's not like hidden information. It's all publicly available. We just get nice little printouts.
Stats, yes. This is nothing that's not online and on the WNBA website stuff. But so McBride definitely playing herself into All-Star injury replacement conversation. Whether she'd rather have a vacation somewhere restful or be in.
I mean.
Well, no,
I think if she makes the All-Star game, it's 3 straight for Mac. And we're not brushing over Kosu. We're coming back to Kosu. We're going to pivot to Mac, and then we're going to come back to Kosu because we're talking about Mac now, and that's how programs go. But like it, as Pac mentality said, she gets beat up every game. She's like crashing through screens, hitting the deck. Then she's playing some of the best basketball offensively of the season over the last six games especially, but honestly, like I went back to early July or mid June, and she's been pretty awesome. She hasn't had a single digit scoring game since June 1st. Like that's unreal for her. Yeah. I mean, she should be an All-Star. I think she probably gets the nod as an injury replacement if someone isn't able to play. But at the same time, like, yeah, she needs to go to Cabo for a week and just lay in the sand and not run.
Yeah. And that guard position is so tough to make, with just the way the guards are playing this year and the limited like All-Star position. So like, I think there's a world in which maybe not, and that's not like a reflection on her, just that there's like probably a couple other, guards as well that are playing well. But no, I mean, I was thinking about this even, when she kind of started this stretch, those games that Liv was out, like being in Phoenix to cover like the playoff series last year and watching that game where like she nearly like pretty single-handedly willed them to a win, and just afterwards, like the emotion that like she had where it was sort of like just how much that they wanted it. Like it feels like sort of like, she's one of these players that like, just like when the going gets tough, like they can just kind of be like, you gotta do, I mean, Cheryl said it, I think post game, last game, just like, she's been around, like there's not that much that surprises her, so, whether it's someone going down or what, or this or that, like, it's like, yeah, done that probably.
I know I've said the comp before, but like, she just reminds me of Simone so much, where it's just like, if K-Mac played for Toronto, she'd probably average 34 points a game this year, but she doesn't. Like, she values winning. She values being in a like happy place, a happy culture. And because of that, she's scoring like 16 or 17 points a game on average. But the ability to just take over a game and hoop is always there, which it's that was kind of Simone's thing, was just like, Maya's going to be the star of the show. Sill's going to get a ton inside. Like, Wayland's going to dictate everything. But if you really need it, Simone can give you 30 on any night. And I just think about that a lot with the Lynx, because it's like, what a luxury Cheryl is kind of, I mean, it's a luxury of her own making. Like, a player like Kayla McBride doesn't stick around for this role unless there's like a really good foundation and there's really good chances to win. And like all of the kind of things are put in place to attract a player like K-Mac to stay and to sign here, quite frankly. But like, what a luxury it is to just be like, all right, if Courtney doesn't have her shot going, if Fee's out injured and Liv's doing bad Liv stuff that we haven't really seen yet, but like hypothetically, she is going to have a bad game. All right, K-Mac, just turn on the magnets and have a magnet ball game and just win a game in Phoenix for us, which I don't know. She's such a unique player to cover as well, because she talks about it so openly that like her happiness is more important than anything else, which I don't know. I've always really appreciated her from a media perspective too. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, people seeing whatever or reacting online to LaMelo's maybe short answers in his introductory press conference. And, I don't think that like as players, like, they have like, of course we appreciate like long and, answers and stuff as media, but like, that's just how some people operate. Like, they don't want to, answer a question with like a 2-minute answer where they're taking you like everywhere. And that's fine. Like, everybody's different, reporters
I
operate
appreciated the brevity.
Yeah. And like, athletes interact differently. And like, that's just part, I think, of being a reporter and being media, is like understanding that and like knowing that and approaching, the way you cover the team in that way. But like, it just was funny because I was, we had just gotten off the game, I think the night before. Yeah, on Monday.
Yeah, where K-Mac gave like the most wholesome answer of all time about.
Well, yeah, it's not necessarily like the content of them, one being more like valuable or anything than the other, but just sort of like the willingness to sort of like dive in and just be like open. That's like a hard thing, because you are subjecting yourself. The more you talk, the more you're subjecting yourself to, people finding things to critique with it. Like, that's just the age we live in, and the age we live in, like in social media. And so, I mean, that's not something I think by any means like athletes that we cover are obligated to do, but it's just all the more appreciated when it, happens.
Yeah, I think there's just different angles of it, right? Like, the Lynx have always had players, at least in my 3 years here, that are just really okay with being in depth and open and communicative and the like the more vulnerable side of their stories. Like, I think of K-Mac pretty regularly, of just like, she's talked about mental health a ton. Like, Courtney Williams had the Players Tribune thing coming out about like her trying to figure out who she is. Fee talks about, being a mom. Like, there's just always been that kind of openness with the Lynx. With the Wolves, it's different. Like, Jaden McDaniels, up until midway through last season, like every question I asked him would be like 6 words. And then once he kind of feels comfortable, he opens up more. Like, Rudy will give a really long, in-depth answer. Mike will give a really long, in-depth answer. TJ Shannon will give you 4 words. And like, I think I almost like respect K-Mac more for being so willing to be open with everything that she's gone through in her life, especially like on the mental health side and like as a kid side. But like, there's nothing wrong with a player being like, here is your answer. It is answering your question. Please stop talking to me. Because at the end of the day, like, it's such a weird dynamic where this is their job. They go to work 7 days a week. I mean, they usually are working 8-hour days between treatment and practice and film reviews and everything else. And like, yes, they have a 3-month off like period, but honestly, their work schedules are kind of like teachers, where for 9 months of the year, they're working 10 hours a day. And then they just have like a dozen people asking them about their work every single day. I would hate that. As a nurse, would hate it. So I kind of look at it of like, I appreciate the openness. I respect the openness. But at the same time, like, if I was in their shoes, I would be terrible.
Yeah, it's a unique but yeah, no, it's definitely yeah, just unique. Like, that's, I think, one of the interesting things about, like, especially when you're covering, yeah, like you do, or like I do, or you're like moving between different teams and covering, you know, Lynx one season or Wolves, or in my case, Frost, or Gophers basketball for both of us. It's just like everybody's just different, and different sports are sometimes different, different people are different. And I think that's like part of what makes the job interesting.
Absolutely. Let's talk Kosu before we get out of here. Awesome. Kosu, awesome. Awesome game.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. So after last game, where when K-Mac had 37, she comes in and sits down, and the post game was her and Liv, and has the box score, and she goes, I was -3. Like, she was so upset. And you know, after all that, and you know, whatever, you know, plus minus whatever, and then today she sits down and you know, asks about Ola, and she goes, she's +17. So you know, they give them the box scores that we have after the game, and so they can kind of see. So she was very impressed as well. Got the plus minus stamp of approval from her. But no, I mean, she just looks so, I think the word, you know, Courtney's post game was just the confidence that she has, and just being able to get to the line. And I mean, I think you could see it in flashes even last year, but like, you know, the athleticism that she has, and just, it's been, yeah, quite impressive. She had one play that stood out to me. What was it? It was like Liv passed it to her. She kind of bobbled it and like ended up like having to dribble it maybe, you know, once or twice, and then just flicked it out, found Nia, I think, for a 3. And was it Nia? I can't remember. Anyway, don't quote me on that. But and I just, you know, just her fit like has really found its way in a way that last year, like, it was kind of just like you're getting in when you can get minutes. But she's just all over the place, you know, rebounding, being able to get to the line. What was she today?
7 of 8
for free throws.
7 of 8 for someone that like is actively reworking their entire jump shots.
And so, you know, I think that at any time you kind of ask anyone with the team, you know, coach, player, about her, she's like, she's still 21. Like, did you know that? It's like, yeah, you know. But I mean, that's like a fair reminder. I mean, I think maybe it was Brunson that brought up at one shoot around media avail that like there's a world in which, you know, with a redshirt year or something, that she's a sophomore in college, or, you know, junior, I guess. But like, and she's shown that she can like hold her own as a member of this rotation, you know, as is. And then of course there's like that upside they see. So it's been, you know, it's been kind of, I think, a byproduct of this like just rotation that they've had, you know, first with B and Dorka out, and now, you know, Dorka obviously is a late scratch again today, and you know, kind of, I guess, lost in the Liv injury. That asked about that pregame as well. This was before she was downgraded. Cheryl had said, it's one of those things, kind of see overnight how it goes, see if the swelling goes down. So it sounded like that was maybe the thing that they were worried about with the right knee. But yeah, she was a late scratch. So, when Ola has been able to get these minutes for the most part, and, she's been making a lot of them, which is cool to see.
I mean, 9 points in 17 minutes. She's a plus 17, highest of the game. I mean, again, if you want to nitpick 2 turnovers, like I always have to put a little water on it of like, hands could be a little bit better from Ola at sometimes. Like, it's not like she's touching the ball a ton and getting 2 turnovers. But like, for me, I think last year I really undersold for both Johan Berenger from the Wolves and for Ola. Learning English is hard. And like, when you're in a new country trying to like figure out, like Ola got her like driver's license midway through last season. Like, when you're trying to figure out like how to live in America, in a new country, and learning English and trying to figure out how to play basketball in a way that you've never played before. Like, FIBA and WNBA rules they're similar, but like in FIBA, there's no defensive 3 seconds. Like, Ola can just stand under the basket all game. Like, to learn all of that, I think is just tough. And like, Ola was a 2nd round pick. It's not like she was a lottery pick. They had time to develop with her, but now you're just seeing someone that I think that confidence is just like, she now understands what Courtney Williams is saying. She now understands like where to be on a basketball court, where defensive positioning is. And then, as somebody in the chat mentioned, she also just looks even stronger than she did last season, which in a game like tonight or this afternoon against the Sparks, like, yeah, they didn't know what to do with her. She was just bullying her way underneath the rim and getting position. And then they were having to follow her. Cause like, what do you do? Which Kingaby chimes in. She can attest to the language barrier being difficult. Like, I can't imagine. I truly can't imagine how hard it is to just show up here and have to learn English.
No, I mean, I was reading about, that Saturday they'll be doing a giveaway and recognition for Sylvia Fowles coming back with Portland for the 2nd time as assistant coach, but this time kind of doing that. And I was looking up some stuff and was reading Fee's Players Tribune sort of thank you that she wrote for her in 2022. That was my first time reading it. It was quite nice. People haven't read it, but she was talking about just like her first training camp and her first day and like the amount of things, within that week that they were trying to learn of different plays and different, OTAs and stuff and being like, oh my gosh. And I mean, imagining that as someone who English is your 2nd language, you're in a new country. And that is just, I mean, that I marvel at that. Yeah.
There was someone on the team last year. I can't remember what player it was. And I was looking for the clip because I thought I had posted it because it was kind of funny. It wasn't said to be mean. It was literally like in jest, but it was towards the end of last season. One of the players, can't remember who, they said like, they're just not really sure Ola understands English because she just kind of agrees to everything and is like, yeah. And then she'll go out on the practice floor and like not do anything that they just talked about. And like, I just think about how different that must be now where she, is executing at a really high level and doing like her positioning on defense is just awesome. Like, she's never in the wrong spot. She cleans up for other players. And like, all of that stuff is communication, right? Like, you have to call out the screens. You have to call out where players are rotating assignments. And Ola's doing that as the low man a lot of times, which is very heavy communication driven position on defense. And it's just like, I don't think there was any way she could do that last year. So it was probably there, but it's just, it just goes to show like the language barrier for some of these young kids that get drafted, which Ola was 19 when she got drafted. Just, it has to be just unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, an interesting thought. I mean, even coming back, I feel like, that first media avail that when she arrived, I mean, she was like,
You're so excited.
Well, I think she had said like, or was it, did she say, I can't remember.
Yeah, she said it as she was walking off. She was like, "Oh my God, that was so good." Like walked away.
And I can imagine how frustrating that would maybe be, like, that you want to be sort of an active participant in the team and all the team things and doing, being able to talk about that stuff and just, like, yeah, it's just it's interesting to think about. Like, I mean, obviously I'm getting way ahead of ourselves. I mean, gosh, they have half of this season and so
we're
many
talking
players.
about 2031 when Ola's a all-star starter.
No, but like in so many of the current players are in 2-year contracts. It's giving kind of like a picture into like the timeline of this team. But it is interesting to think about if they're able to retain and build around, like, I don't know, obviously you have a player like Liv, who, you build a team around, but it's even just the flashes we saw from Emma to start the year. I mean, you think if you can integrate her, that's a whole nother thing of like, not only coming back and being healthy, but also like playing a full season and like, figuring out the different rules, the stuff that we talked about just a minute ago. But I don't know. It's just fun. It's interesting to think kind of the two timelines that there are for certain groups, but obviously a lot of experience on this team as well, which I think has been a benefit for the team, for Liv. Yeah.
The two timelines is fascinating to me because you're spot on. Like, Emma could be awesome 3 or 4 years from now. Like, Ola, I think, is trending certainly in the right position. Liv is obviously awesome. Like, Fee's only 29. Like, if she wants to, she can play another 5-6 years. And like, at some point, K-Mac is going to retire. Maybe she's on the coaching staff the next year. That would be my guess, is maybe it's a year away and then she's back. But like, it is like the Lynx, how they have set themselves up compared to what we were talking about late in the summer or late in the spring, winter, whenever everything blends together, late in the off season. Like, you just see this vision now of like, oh God, they could be really good for 10-15 years if some of these things work out. First off, Dorsey, thanks for listening in from New Orleans. No, love to have like cross country. We have a couple like Europeans that come in here. Wild that people have found us over the interwebs to come in and be a part of the community. So I appreciate all of you guys. Cassidy, let's go with this one. Ben asks, when do you think they will add another developmental player? I'm going to be honest. I think they have just found a cap loophole with this 7-day contract, demote, bring back up, demote, bring back up, that keeps resetting that 3 days. They do need to replace McCowan at some point still. And at some point, Emma, they do have to, I would assume, injury stretch that contract and get the cap relief. Mm-hmm. So that I would assume they bring in 2 players, but when do you think that's going to happen, Cassidy?
It's an interesting question. I mean, we'll see. So obviously that like roster finalization deadline is passed. So, we're probably not going to see, too many teams just sort of shedding players now that those contracts are guaranteed. I believe that they could use 2 more 7-day contracts, or like it's 3 7-day contracts, right, for a player that can sign sort of in order with the season. So yeah. Ben, comment, only so many 7 days. Yeah, I believe the number's 3. So, if I had to think that, you could, if you wanted to, sign Ellis twice to more of that. Those dev spots they don't have to have filled. I don't know. Honestly, like I have to think through that a little bit. Like, look at the timeline of the rest of the season, and kind of puzzle through that. I mean, I think like we talked about, at the beginning of the pod, that doesn't seem like Liv's ankle is like anything that's like super long term. Just kind of on first appearance. But, in the instance, like you want to have, I think we saw in that those Sun games where, of course, running point, then you really need everybody else to be having good games.
Yeah.
Guard wise, or else you kind of just, there's not as much depth there. I don't know. I'll have to puzzle through that.
What they've done that I don't know if appreciated is the right way to say it, but like it's a loophole that they're exploiting, and I think it's very smart that they're doing. But like Aliska's 7-day contract ends up, they can just sign Leah 2 back to the main roster and designate Aliska back to a developmental spot, and now they're clear again. I would assume that at some point, maybe one of those players plays themselves out of a developmental spot. Like, I don't know how much teams around the league are watching like Lynx garbage time or backup point guard play, but like there's always that risk when you let them go to go on a developmental spot. Like every other team in the league gets an email and gets a chance to sign them. So that's certainly a risk. Then the Lynx would have to commit to signing them for the rest of the season if another team claims them. I do think, I would be surprised if they don't have a full roster by like mid-August. I think once Fee comes back and you've seen more of like what this team needs at full strength, I think you probably address those. But it's going to be interesting because, like I've been telling you and everybody else on the beat, is like somebody is going to get cut from a team that you don't expect. It happens every year, and the Lynx are going to be a very attractive place. So I do think it's smart to just hold a roster spot so that they can go after that player that gets cut whenever it may be.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see too, like, if we see when Fee comes back, in regards to some of that guard depth. Cheryl sounded like, I asked about sort of the trade, that August 2nd
trade deadline's on the second.
Deadline. Yeah. Second. I, asked sort of about the idea of like seeing Nia at the 3, which like obviously like she can do. And Cheryl kind of mentioned like there's certain players, right, who you kind of see like in their peak form in the 4, like Fee, who like started playing as a 3 a lot of the time, and Nia can play small forward. And so I'll be curious if we see like maybe sort of like a Nia Fee Dorka, or Nia Fee Tosh, or Nia Tosh Dorka, like some combination of that lineup, and that either gives Mac time to sit, gets Court off, and then you can see Mac at the 2 and Liv at the 1. I don't know, just like some combination of that maybe gives them relief just in terms of minutes. Different players, obviously, different sort of skill set, but like maybe that helps. But yeah, I mean, because then that just there's just more minutes to go around. But I don't know. That doesn't really solve the guard depth problem, or like just kind of thinking about that puzzle, but it's one thought. I don't know.
I could also see towards the end of the season, if they're healthy, they do more of like a fluttering of the gas pedal, right? Where maybe Court is sitting out in a back-to-back, or one of those Indiana games, K-Mac's not playing, or they're trying to just make sure they're healthy. Do want to get Jude's comments in here. The playoff roster set date is August 25th. So I think that's certainly a calendar date to circle if you're wondering what they're going to do going into the playoffs. And then Dorsey adds they need guard depth going into the second half. I do agree. Like, I think, there's part of me that wishes they still had like Jalen Sherrod somewhere, because she at least can give you some competent minutes, but she's playing for, I think, Atlanta, New York.
She's an Atlanta dev player, I believe.
Which maybe that's the simple answer. I mean, you can pick somebody's dev player and then that team has to sign them. And if that team's at full roster, like if they're at their 12 players and someone picks a dev player, then they have to cut a rostered player to sign the dev player. Like there is some roster manipulation that I think is going to be happening towards the middle of August, of just teams trying to figure out who they would want or what they can do to mess with other teams. It's the gamemanship of it. Cassidy, we're almost to 50 something minutes, 55 minutes. Woof. What do you got coming out at Star Tribune? Where can people find you? Plug all of your lovely things.
Ooh, let's see. It's July 15th. Obviously, we've got this stretch of games coming up and we'll have coverage, around and on those, but I will be at All-Star Weekend, which is super exciting, making the trip to Chicago. So we'll have stuff from there, over on the website, and that, that'll be a interesting chance. I think that, getting to go to stuff like that, the games themselves, are maybe mean little, but like, just, it's a good place to get perspective on, a lot of league things that we talk about, but you're getting, you're having media access with a bunch of players from all over the league. So, and coaches and different things like that. So that'll be a cool experience. And so hopefully we'll have, have some stuff going into it, but then also might not be out right away, but just some things where, voices from different people about Lynxy things and former teammates, players, and just, different things like that hopefully kind of add another dimension to the coverage. So
Caitlin Clark and Olivia Miles, teammates.
Yeah, so we didn't even talk about this.
Cheryl.
This was yes, this is for Team Cheryl. We didn't even
does
break
Caitlin
down.
Clark get traded again?
No. Andrew, you gotta get your facts right. They traded coaches, right? Fee and
Caitlin
they
traded coaches. That's what
coaches didn't trade players.
Who has more pull, Olivia Miles or Caitlin Clark on the coach decision?
No, but I mean, because Fee was the other one, but other captain. Wait, yeah, I had that pulled up. Wait, we can end with this. Sorry, not. Also, we can also not end with this. I'm not taking over your pod, but I'm. Let's see,
Cassidy, Ben wants a commitment. Are you going to be on the Stud Buds All-Star live stream? Are you going to be in the background of AI Cheryl dancing at a club again?
I don't think I have that insider trackway, but I don't know if they're streaming courtside like they were before. In Chicago, the media setup's pretty close to the court, so keep an eye. Maybe I'll be a bystander in the background. Let's see. It's Caitlin, Liv, Jess Shepard, Asia Wilson, Aaliyah. They got Asia and Aaliyah starting on teams.
So Asia's on the other team.
No, Asia's with Liv.
Asia's with Liv?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's who are the starters on the other one? We got Paige, Kelsey, Gabby, Stewie, and Tosh.
Okay. And then Court is on Liv's team. She did.
Court is on Liv's team, yes.
So that's going to be fun. Like the All-Star game, I think is going to be. The game probably isn't going to be incredibly entertaining, but like the off the court stuff, I think is going to be.
Yeah.
They know how to do it. For all of the issues this league has, they know how to pull off an all-star game. I have been alerted that the Stud Buds stream has started, so we do have to wrap up here.
Okay, we're going
to lose 347 of our 349 viewers in about a minute.
Okay.
If you did pop into this late, it does get posted as soon as I end the stream on Twitter and over on YouTube and Buzzer. It'll be out as a 7 a.m. podcast tomorrow morning for anyone who's interested in that. And then I am back in Minnesota Thursday night. So I'll be back on the practice beat asking interesting questions on Friday morning. So look forward to that. I'm trying to think. Saturday, we have another, 8:30 game, 10:30 game? I thought Saturday was another late one.
I think it's at 7, I believe.
Is it?
10:30. Wait, Saturday. It's at home.
Now I'm looking. Saturday. Yep, at home. 5 p.m. start, everybody. Oh, my gosh. They're doing too much.
7. I think it's 7. I think you're in the wrong time zone.
I'm in the wrong time zone. I thought it was great. And now I'm all of my hope in humanity has been sucked out It's going to be another 11 p.m. night for your guy. First world problems. Thanks, everyone, for listening, though. We'll catch you after that Saturday game against Portland.
See ya.